Hi, my name is Kelly Allen, and today I will be discussing a disorder you may have all have heard of called Down syndrome. I will discuss the causes and types, the diagnosis, and the myths and facts behind this disorder. Ever since I was a little girl, this disorder has captivated my soul. I have always been very passionate about people with this disorder. When I was 18 years old, I started college to pursue a degree in special education. Life happened, and here I am 14 years later, actually pursuing a degree in general business. However, my love for people with this disorder has never wavered. I will begin my discussion today discussing what is Down syndrome. A lot of people truly have never researched what this disorder is, and I find that a lot of people are scared because they don't know. So they are very standoffish towards people with this disorder. And it's very sad to me because people with Down syndrome are some of the most wholesome and loving individuals that I have ever met. Down syndrome was originally described as a disorder by John Langdon in 1866, but the cause of Downs was not clearly identified until 1958 by Dr. Jerome Lejeune. The human species has 46 chromosomes, and with the help of colleagues, Dr. Jerome was able to determine that those affected with this disorder had 47 chromosomes. It was later determined that the partial or whole copy of chromosome number 21 results in the characteristics associated with Down syndrome. Nearly 1 in every 691 babies born in the United States is born with Down syndrome. That is nearly 6,000 babies born in the United States alone, and over 400,000 living in our country right now. The causes and types of Down syndrome, I was astonished to learn myself that there are actually 3 types of Down syndrome and not just one. The first type is actually the most common type. It is called trisomy 21. This is where an extra chromosome, number 21, is actually living in each cell. Nearly 95% of people with Down syndrome have trisomy 21. The second most common type is called translocation. This happens when each cell division, a part of the number 21 chromosome, breaks off and attaches itself to another chromosome, usually the number 14 chromosome. 2 to 3% of people with Down syndrome have a translocation pattern. The third type of Down syndrome, which is the least common, is called mosaicism. This is when a faulty cell division occurs in one of every cell divisions after conception, resulting in some cells having 46 chromosomes instead of 47. Again, trisomy 21 is the most common type of Down syndrome. There are 3 different tests that a female can have while she is pregnant to determine if her child will be born with Down syndrome. Each test can be done, and it is by option of the female to do so. The first one is the most common, and it is called amniocentesis. This happens around 15 weeks of pregnancy. It is where a small needle is inserted into a mother's uterus to receive a sample of the amniotic fluid. That amniotic fluid is sent off for testing, and it is used to analyze the chromosomes of the fetus. The test only carries a slight risk of miscarriage if it is done around 15 weeks of pregnancy. If it is done any later than that, the risk increases. The second test is called chorionic villus sampling, also known as CVS. Cells are removed from the placenta around 10 weeks of pregnancy. The chromosomes are those cells, and the cells are then analyzed. This test carries a much higher risk of miscarriage than the amniocentesis. The third and final test that can be done while a woman is pregnant is called cardiocentesis, and is also referred to as percutanosis umbilical blood sampling, or PUBS. This test is performed around 18 to 22 weeks of pregnancy. Doctors remove the fetal blood from a vein in the umbilical cord, and it's then examined for chromosomal defects. This test carries a significant risk of miscarriage and is only performed when the other tests are inconclusive. There are a few tests that can be done when a child is born, and that is a vision test and also a chromosomal karyotype, and this is where it's just a blood test from the child, and they can test the chromosomes to see if the extra chromosome number 21 is present. There are a few myths of this disorder that I would like to make known. One is that this disorder is hereditary. It is not. Only 1% of births of those born with Down syndrome is considered hereditary. And the other myth is that women who get pregnant over the age of 35 carry a much higher risk of having a child born with Down syndrome, when actually, per the National Down Syndrome Society, due to the higher fertility rates, 80% of children born with Down syndrome are born to parents, or mothers rather, under the age of 35. No matter what 3 types of Down syndrome a person has, the physical traits are always very similar. They always have low muscle tone, upward slant to their eyes, and a small stature. Down syndrome is not a debilitating disorder. Those who have this disorder are able to function in day-to-day activities and work and have successful lives. I hope the next time you see a person with Down syndrome, you give them lots of love, because they are just like you and I, just in a little bit of different form. Thank you.